Hey, what's happening, everyone? Midweek mindset here, maybe more so at the end of the week mindset, but I just wanted to jump on here and make sure I continue to keep what my commitment is and throwing out midweek mindsets. But, the reason I took so long is I've been listening to a book by A.W. Tozer, A Cloud by Day and a Fire by Night. And it really presented something challenging to me and thought provoking that I've been kind of really meditating on and mulling in my mind. And uh, and that was that when the children of Israel came out of Egypt and slavery, they went into the desert, and a lot of people know the story about the wandering for 40 years and different things, but you know they didn't just go right in to the land of Canaan and take it over, and they didn't believe, right? They didn't see past the giants, they didn't see past the struggles. But actually, what was really interesting to me was the fact that 400 years of learning how to truly labor and work hard had prepared them to actually not just fight for, but to actually responsibly live up to maintain a land that they didn't build anything. God had done it all, prepared it all. It wasn't about they're going to go into the land of Canaan, wipe it all out, and then start rebuilding it all. Actually, there's an old saying that I've come across before that says, how a king handles defeat is not as important as how he handles victory. And sometimes when victories are too easy for us, when we're given everything, there's a tendency to actually be very idle. And that's another thing that kind of opens up the door for understanding, is that a lot of people think like idolatry is I-O, I'm sorry, the IDO, idols that you bow down to. But idolatry, actually laziness, right? Lackadaisicalness and not doing what you should, is really complacency. And one of the iron triangles that I've worked on before, just because of an experience and a dream that I had, is there's really three main components that work against us in a systematic fashion. And that is, complacency opens the door for distractions. And distractions, once we're distracted, actually that opens the door for the usurper, right? Satan is someone who doesn't just prowl around like a lion to seeing who he can maul and kill, right? He seeks to steal, he lies, he devours and kills. Right? He doesn't just kill the body, he kills opportunity, he kills hope, he kills positivity, right? He kills motivation. Those are the things that he seeks to steal from us. And the children of Israel spent 400 years being prepared for something amazing and wonderful as the land of Canaan, but they weren't actually able to do it because of the fact of the matter is they didn't see past the real struggles. They got out of slavery only to realize the real battle was ahead, not enduring the slavery that they were in, but it was actually ahead, and that's where they faltered. And what's really crazy is that out of 12 spies, only two of them came back with a positive report. That's 1 in 6. 1 in 6 people were actually completely sold out for God in this group, and because of that, an entire generation wasted away in the desert. And those two individuals were preserved by God to actually enter the promised land. And so, look to your right, look to your left, do a count of how many friends you have. Are you surrounded by Christians and other believers? Because 1 in 6 came back with that positive report. And that made all the difference. And they were prepared, right? They were prepared not just to go in there and fight, but they knew the work. Sometimes you got to almost be a slave, right? To the things that you got a house, you got a yard, you got kids, you got a dog, you got a job. To a degree, you're slaving away, right? But that doesn't mean you have to be a slave to what it is that's going on, right? And too many of those people were slaves in their minds and hearts. They hadn't broken away from it. They weren't transformed, converted, right? Completely transformed. They were just modified a little bit. They were given freedom. And I don't know if this really makes sense to anybody out there, but what I want to really kind of point towards is, let us be a people that are transformed, not just modified. Let us be people who, from the struggles that we know to now, the struggles that are going on right now, let these be the things that so to speak, that time in Egypt, right? That time of slavery and struggle. Let it be what prepares us to eventually be a society that will accept no breaking of the law. They will not accept corruption. They will not accept a lack of morals or integrity. when this is all said and done, what is this leading to and building right now, right? People fighting over masks, people fighting over who's right, who's wrong, politics and other things. But ultimately, we're seeing the onset, the formation of a society that will be so much farther beyond what it is we've even had prior to all this happening. And I just wanted to share that hope with you guys and share that uh, I don't know, that maybe that visionary faith that it really brought up in me as I began to think about this and listening to that book by A.W. Tozer. And for anybody who's looking for audiobooks, likes audiobooks or a book to read, I'm telling you, A.W. Tozer's A Cloud by Day and a Fire by Night. The cloud is the exact opposite of clear sunshine, right? And a fire is the exact opposite of darkness. And God was really showing something bigger than just, I'm going to lead you out of Israel with a great miracle. And he's showing us something bigger in this day, in this age right now. The things we're going through, don't let it wreck you and make you angry, because there's a lot of people who are getting really angry and kind of tripped out right now and snapping on others. Right? Let it be that which hones us, which builds our faith and our belief in the words of Jesus, not just in God, but really believing in his words and the fact that a great society is on the verge of being formed. And when the so to speak, the weeding out happens and occurs through judgment, which it will, what's going to be left is a society that will not put up with corruption, will not put up with Satanism, Luciferianism, will not put up with human trafficking, will not put up with thievery, rioting, and anarchy. It'll be a society that would just flat out will not put up with it. And together, imagine if an entire nation, what is it, 300 something million people or whatever, are living in America. Imagine if 3/4 of them, 2/3 of them stood up and said, absolutely not. You can guarantee none of this would be happening. So let us be a people who are formed by this, who are built in our faith, who are rooted deeply and expectantly looking forward to something, not just coming out of Egypt, but being fully prepared. 400 years of readiness they were given. They could have walked in there and did whatever they needed to do because God had already given it to them. So it's not the defeats, it's the victories that truly judge or should I say, reflect who we are. So I'm going to stop it at that. Thank you guys very much for taking the time. Jake, hey man, thank you very much for your words and tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Dino, my battle buddy, thank you very much for taking time to watch. Anybody else who's taking the time, just want to say thank you. I hope these are encouraging to you, and above all, thought-provoking and hope-inspiring. That's really what I'm seeking to do and purvey to you guys here by doing these things. It's easy to talk about the book of Revelations and everything coming to an end, but what about what's being built? What about what's coming? What about hope? Because that's the message that Jesus carries, and that's who Jesus was, the purveyor of hope for the souls of mankind, that we don't just die, we will live forever with him. So just want to say that. Thank you guys very much, and I'll see you soon for a Sunday sit down.